You're listening to the She Levels Up podcast, where women stop playing small and start profiting big. Your host, Katrina Sawa, has been a business coach, speaker, and publishing strategist since 2002. She works with entrepreneurs who are serious about building bold, profitable businesses that will fund your future. Each week, she and her guests share real strategies on sales, visibility, positioning, books, and authority without the fluff, hype, or hustle nonsense. If you're ready to own your expertise, raise your rates, amplify your voice, and finally get paid what you're worth, you're in the right place. Let's level up.
Hey, welcome to the She Levels Up podcast. This is episode 1. I'm your host, Katrina Sawa, and I am so excited to start and launch this podcast because I believe a lot of women are playing small in their personal lives, playing small in their business, and I believe in living big. My motto for many, many years now is how to live a bigger life and create that life for you, because you have the opportunity to do whatever the heck you want and make whatever the hell kind of money you want to make. Now, this is not a cookie cutter, oh, we're going to get likes on this show, or I'm going to show you a few little things. No, we're going to get down and dirty. I might bring out feisty Katrina every now and again and really show you what's working and what isn't working. Well, we're not going to focus as much on that, but we're going to focus on what's working for making more money, positioning yourself, and what's really critical. And don't get me wrong, I know a lot of you out there are trying to bootstrap your way to building a business and being profitable. A lot of people have been burned, or you've invested a lot of money and you're like, okay, but I can't spend a lot of money. Katrina, make sure you tell me what to do that's free, right? So we're going to talk about some free things, but let's face it, you get what you pay for. So there are some things that are going to be critical that I say, no, you need to pay for this. You need to find a way, make some money, or go borrow it, steal it, whatever you need to do. Don't steal it, but like whatever you need to do to make it happen. So on this show, I'm so excited to share a lot of the strategies that I paid mentors for teaching me throughout the years. And now I also teach it to my students and clients in my various programs. So we're going to have some fun. We're going to have episodes that talk about positioning, sales, visibility, books, authority, and building a business that funds the kind of life you want to live, not so you have to fit your life in around your business. So we don't want a business that drains you. We don't want you working, 20 hours a day or even 10 hours a day. But this also isn't going to be the 4-hour work week, because I think that's kind of an unrealistic expectation. So we're going to talk. I want to talk to you if you are serious about building a business and you want to do it the most effective, most efficient, and most productive way in order to reach a lot more profit in your business. If you're done shrinking, second guessing yourself, and settling for almost successful, barely making it, or I'm comfortable but not where I need to be, then it's time to level up. And I'm ready to go if you're ready to go. So this first show was just to kind of introduce who I am and what the concept is for the show. I will be having guests come in, but the first few episodes will be me, just to set the stage. I want to set the tone. And just to give you a little background, I am a very direct, in your face kind of gal. I don't do it with the means of trying to belittle you or shame you or any of that, though, because I come from the point of view that I want you to live your happiest life ever. I want you to make a whole lot of money so that you can go and have more time with your family, go on vacations, give back to community resources and things that you want to give back to. I want you to make a lot more money and know that you are worth it and you deserve it. And a lot of people out there are like, no, I don't need to make that much. I'm okay where I'm at. And I want to get rid of that mindset. We will talk about mindset. We'll talk about strategy. We'll talk about actual to-dos, what you need to do. I'm even really good with the words. And so you'd be surprised. A lot of time I will just rattle off, oh, you just need to say this in an email, or you just need to put this in a post or whatever. There's so many things. There's 462 things is I have a video on my YouTube where these podcasts are going to lie. We're going to start on YouTube, but there's 462 things that we have to learn to be a successful entrepreneur. We have to be a bookkeeper, a COO, a CFO, a marketing person. We have to be a social media expert. We have to know technology. We have to know IT. We have to know banking. We have to know how to do product and coupons and order pages and order bumps and oh my God, right? So this is a journey. Now, this is a journey and you want to listen to the right people. There's a lot of people out there that are amazing at business and that are doing podcasts and things like that. And of course, you want to listen to some of those. But there's also people out there that are doing and just teaching you like one piece of the pie. I teach all the pieces of of the pie because they have to all flow together. So be careful just listening to one thing or person that tells you to do it one way. I don't do that. So if I'm talking about a topic that say email marketing, right? If I'm talking about email marketing, I'm going to say for most coaches, we need to be emailing at least once a week. It used to be every other week, is what I used to say like 10 years ago. In the beginning of my business, 24 years ago, it was, oh, you just got to email once a month. But no, you can't do that anymore. Now it's weekly, if not more. Okay. And so, but I also have clients who are nonprofits and some other types of business owners, maybe authors. And so they might have a different strategy. So if I am talking on a topic, I will say, hey, for those of you who are blah, 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 you want to do it this way. And those of you who are not, you want to do it that way. Because I don't want to blanket advice, the same general advice to every single person. So this is one of the reasons that stops me from doing a podcast over the last 5 or 6 years when they started getting really hot. It's funny though, because in 2010, I started a radio show. So back then it wasn't really podcasting per se. It was radio shows on Blog Talk Radio and they were all audio mostly. Now there's video, right? And it's really easy to do video podcasting through Zoom and StreamYard and all the different places. But I did a radio show for 4 years. I did it weekly. It was called the Jumpstart Your Business Now radio show. And so I did 4 years of episodes and I kind of got burnt out on it a while for that time. And I didn't have a team to help me at that time. I was just, loading it myself, and Blog Talk was really the main platform that everybody was on. So now there's so much fun stuff around podcasts, and I'm excited to start this podcast because it's not just about jumpstarting a new business anymore. It's how do we level up? And so I still help people to jumpstart a new business. Don't get me wrong, but I really love helping people level up to that next level and do the things in their business that's going to get them more visible, better expert positioning, and higher sales and income. So, that's just what I'm so passionate about. And so I want to talk about all of these things. I'm going to bring in guests. I'm also going to bring in clients. I'm going to bring in authors of mine who've leveled up in some way. They're going to share their story. But I'm going to start by telling you my story and how I've leveled up in a way that hopefully inspires you. So first I'll talk about my personal life. So, because they go hand in hand, personal and business, right? The more money I can make, the more I'll have time for my personal life. And so when I started my business, I was married to my starter husband, who's an amazing guy. And we were great for a while until we weren't, right? And then we just kind of grew apart. And when I started my own business, I had left my job. Actually, I told my boss to fuck off. And yes, I will cuss on this podcast because when I'm super passionate about something, I just can't help myself sometimes. And so it's okay. If that really offends you though, know that it's not to offend you. It's to emphasize a point or emphasize something that's really important to know. So I am blunt. I tell it like it is, but I do it with love, and I do it because I want you to make more money and I want you to stop making mistakes and I want you to stop squirreling. But when I started my own business, I realized that, he had become more comfortable with his job we had met doing door-to-door sales actually. So we were outside salespeople knocking on doors, and we met and we got married. And then he got a job um, with a company where he would go to work and come home and we'd have dinner, he'd drink a beer, sit on the couch and go to bed and get up and do it again. After a little while, I wanted more. And so when I told my boss to fuck off, I said, because he was an ass and he would say one thing and do the other. So he deserved it, um, frankly. And I should have done it sooner. I said, you know what? I'm starting my own business. I'd already laid the groundwork for networking because in my last job, I was an outreach person. So I had to, go around to the local chambers and different local companies and meet a bunch of people and share the message and get, more people into the company. And so I already knew a lot of people. I'd already been networking. They already knew who I was. I just had to go and say, hey, now I'm doing this. And then I got business. It wasn't that difficult because I knew what I was doing, and I started in marketing. I started helping people like jumpstart their marketing and say, okay, well, you want to do this, then you should do that. And so I would show them what to do and then do some of it for them. Slowly that evolved into helping them with some other things. It wasn't just marketing. It was follow up. It was point of sale in their store. It was looking at their websites. It was all kinds of different things that aided in them getting more business and getting more money. And so then it was just more and more and more. And the more I learned that I could do business anywhere, I took it from my local market to the internet. And I had a lot more clients working with me over the phone and teleseminar line at the time, right? So we're talking, this was before Zoom, you guys. So, uh, and then, so then got divorced, right? Divorced because we just grew apart and he wasn't going to come with me on my new journey of entrepreneurialism, which is risky. He wanted to stay in his comfort zone. So I left and leapt out on my own. And it was scary, but I needed to. I wasn't going to settle for no intimacy, someone who didn't support me, and for not, staying in a lifestyle and a career that really didn't fit what I wanted anymore. So I was leaping out into new unknown territory, learning a bunch of stuff, meeting a bunch of people, and growing a business. And we got divorced. And so, but that was a good thing, right? And then I'm doing the business and now I'm online dating. Oh my goodness, right? So I'll have to tell you the online dating story another time, but I've got some stories because there is ways. But I did eventually meet my current husband on eHarmony, and I had a whole process for that. I can tell you that later if you guys are in that process. But because I was using marketing strategies in the online dating world that I was using in business, and it was just funny. It was way more efficient and and I say profitable because I did end up getting my next husband out of it, or we met and all that. So it's a fun story. But so in the business, so I slowly but surely grew that business. I hired some coaches along the way early on, not right away because I didn't know what I didn't know, but finally one of my good friends said, you have to come to this workshop in LA, which was, I'm in Northern California. And so I had to put a bunch of money on my credit card to go to LA to go to this workshop that was by far the best workshop that I would ever attend, especially at that time in my business. Hired that person who ran the workshop, put it all on a credit card, right? Just trusted. I trusted that it'll all work out in the end. I had faith that I could figure it out and I would learn based on who I hired to help me. I trusted that I was smart. I could make this happen, right? I just needed to learn what I didn't know. And so I had huge faith in myself and confidence. I just didn't know what to do. And, even though I've been in sales and marketing all my life, I didn't know what I didn't know in my own business. And this is one of the biggest hurdles I see entrepreneurs facing is they don't hire help early enough. They try to figure it out themselves, but those 462 hats that you have to wear, some of them are very daunting and some of them we avoid. We put them in in the cabinet and we don't look at them, but that's not a good thing necessarily. A lot of people avoid marketing and sales and they think they're going to be successful and make a lot of money, but they don't do well with marketing and sales. And those are the two critical components, amongst all the other things we're going to talk about in this podcast, that can make or break your success. So these are, if you are avoiding learning and really honing your skills around marketing and sales, lead generation, follow up, or how to really make a more profitable business, then this is a podcast you want to listen to because it's going to push your buttons, which is good. It's going to push you out of your comfort zone, which is also good. And it's going to give you the right guidance and not anything that's going to squirrel you. I am an anti-squirrel coach. I don't want you doing a bunch of things that aren't going to bring you business. And I want to do them in order of importance. So I call that your OOI. So it's OOI, order of importance, your OOI. And I talk about this in coaching and in my events and things. And I don't want you doing things out of order of importance, because especially if you need money. Okay, now I just talked to a client earlier today. She doesn't need a lot of money. She has a lot of real estate investments and other properties and businesses that are bringing money in the door, right? So she hired me to help get a lot of the foundational stuff set up to help her increase her revenue in what she's doing. But she wasn't really focused on the money. She was focused on the doing of the things and having fun. But even if you're doing a business for fun, you still are entitled to and deserve to make money doing that. You don't want to be like, taking, I don't know. I will say things like, uh, some people will say, oh, just whatever you want to pay, donate, it's open. That is a sign. I'm just going to tread lightly here because some of you might take that to heart, that you like to have donations made for your stuff. But that to me is a sign that you aren't confident in your pricing and you aren't confident in your worth. And so we need to get you over that, because you certainly are worth more than if someone pays you $10 or $30. Okay. So that's a big topic. So my goal for this first episode was just to get you introduced to me and learn my style, see if it fits something that you might be wanting to listen to. Um, I am who I am, and I don't sugarcoat things. I will dive deep into topics, so you will learn a lot. You will get clear strategies. But my whole goal, and why the subtitle of my podcast is, you may already be in your 50s, 60s, 70s. I don't know who's listening. Some of you might be a lot younger and thinking, nothing's going to happen to me, so I'm good. I'm just going to keep working. It is. But like when I met my current husband, he proposed, at one of my events. Actually, it was a really funny story. I was hosting an event, a training, a Jumpstart Your Biz workshop, basically. And he was on my panel because we were talking about love and relationships and how to actually making money. And when it was his turn to talk, he got down on a knee and proposed. Thankfully on video, because I have a horrible memory. And now I can watch it over whenever I want on what he said and how I said it. But 3 weeks after that, we weren't planning a wedding. We were planning his chemotherapy because he got diagnosed with throat cancer between the proposal and then. And it blew my mind. I'm like, you're not going anywhere. I just found you. And so you never know what's life's going to happen, right? I got to spend basically 8 months with him in recovering and going through all his treatments and surgeries, working about half as much in my business and half spending time with him. So I still had to run the business because that was paying the bills, right? I didn't have a whole lot of excess cash just sitting around to afford me the luxury of not working. And I already had a bunch of clients. So I had to restructure my day so that I could work half days and then be with him half days at the chemo center, etc. And he's fine now. Luckily, he's still around, right? But he's had issues with cancer and skin cancer and all kinds of stuff now for many, many years. And he's even developed some heart issues, and he had 2 heart surgeries just this last year. So you never know what's going to happen and what age or whatnot. He was in his 40s when he first had the cancer. And if something happens where now you're thrust into the sole provider of the family, or you can't work anymore because maybe it's you that got sick. You can't work. So what's going to happen to your income? So we need to make a lot of money while we can. And then we need to make some investments so that our money makes money. And then we're going to be fine. Then we'll have a future, right? But if you keep working and just putting more money back into your business, and I mean, that's what I did for many years. And now I'm more focused on long-term investments so that I don't have to constantly work like this forever, right? But even I wasn't told by my parents to take money and put it in investments and things like that, even though they had them. So it's not an easy lesson to learn, but what I'm trying to impart to you is don't wait to think, oh, I have 20 years on my business, I can make lots of money for my future or whatever. Because, what if you live to your 100? People are living longer. What if you live to your 100 and you have to go into assisted living at 75 because you can't take care of yourself anymore and there's no one else around because your spouse died? And there's no kids around or whatever, or it's so bad that they can't take care of you in their house. So you have to go into assisted living. Assisted living is anywhere from $6,000 to $10,000 or $12,000 a month. And what if you lived there for 20 years? Can you afford that with what you've made and what you've saved and put into investments? If not, you better hustle. And that should be your why to make a lot more money if you don't already have one. Okay. So, not to bring you down in this conversation, but I'm a reality check girl. I want you to think big, live big, put out there a bigger goal. I want you to have a positive mindset. I want you to think about abundance and more. There's always more. I want you to think of collaboration over competition. And I want you to stop settling for good enough, or it's enough money, or I don't need to make that much. Stop settling. I want you to think bigger, play bigger, live bigger, and level up this business that you have that you're supposedly serious about. And anybody can make hundreds of thousands of dollars in their business if they do the right things and focus on the right activities and ooey in your business, right? So this is Katrina Sawa. I want to wrap it up for this episode, but I'm super excited to continue this journey with you. If you'll come along with me and meet some fabulous guests and friends and peers, and maybe some of my mentors will come along. And I just want to share the beautiful experience of entrepreneurship, but I want to be practical, tactical, and profitable. If that's you, then continue joining me on She Levels Up podcast, and I will see you on the next episode.
If this episode hit a nerve, good. That's what leveling up feels like. If you're serious about raising your standards, your visibility, and your income, I invite you to join She Levels Up Mentorship, my inner circle for women who are done playing small and ready to build bold, profitable businesses. Podcast listeners get an exclusive $200 off special offer when you act now. Just go to www.shelevelsup.biz and use the code shared on the show or in the show notes. You won't find that anywhere else. You can get the details at www.shelevelsup.biz. And if you're not ready yet, that's fine. Keep listening, keep growing, but don't stay stuck. Until next time, stop shrinking, stop second guessing, and start profiting big. Go level up.